There's a lesson we teach in martial arts. It's really simple. It says process, not perfection. And it's learning how to be engaged in a momentary ability to stay present, to work on the task at hand, without really a function of, will this turn out perfectly? Because perfection, as I've come to understand, is actually a really low standard. And some people think, how can perfection be a low standard? Simple. We all know intuitively and mentally that perfection really isn't possible for anybody. But if I'm making perfection my ethic, then by default, I'm almost making myself have a low standard. But when you involve yourself in the right kind of process and you're able to see yourself move the wheels of that process again and move the wheels again, that lays the foundation for confidence to be present, because you're in that present moment moving forward with that confidence to keep going and keep going and keep going.
So, I would think that when people try too hard, they get very worried and anxious, and then they can't accomplish what they want to do. Would you say to focus more on the process rather than the end point? Or you have to teach people, people in the martial arts, isn't the goal to do it perfectly? Or, how do you reconcile, a black belt that has to do things perfectly versus learning how to do things?
So I had two great lessons in martial arts training. One was really simple, that when you're training, you may be seeking the perfect technique, but what you're really working on is perfection of character. So rather than, I need the perfect punch, I need the perfect kick, what about the perfect spirit? We can achieve that, because spirit is an element that can't be touched. It can't be measured, but it can be felt. So learning how to have the perfect spirit is really what we're always engaged in, the idea of that perfect spirit. But if I use the perfect spirit, I'm going to be engaged in the process of the moment, which takes my eyes off of my outcome. Maybe I need to focus on my input, not what am I trying to work towards the end all the time.
So when my kids took and take karate lessons from Pete, and we would go to the black belt ceremonies and the brown belt ceremonies, and you had them write essays about what karate means to them. And I always thought they were wonderful, because in the end, it's not about the karate, it's about learning to be better. And the kids always wrote things like, what I did in the dojo helps me in the rest of my life. And really any athletic type of sport, soccer, it's a bunch of people running around after a little white ball. If you think about it that way, it's not that important. But if you think about it as two teams, in the quest to be the most excellent ever, and you took that kind of spirit and put it into school or work or family, you want to, that elevates what you're doing, and that improves your focus on it as well. So using the athletic mindset is what this is all about. And how it relates to ADHD is that it moves you from unfocused to focused. And that's what this is all about.